The morning sun stretched over the sleepy town, brushing soft hues of gold and lavender across the horizon. Emma sat on the edge of her small bed, her hands trembling as she held the envelope that had arrived the night before. The letter was old-fashioned, sealed with care, her name written in a handwriting so familiar it made her heart ache. It was her mother's handwriting, neat, gentle, and filled with warmth. She hadn't opened it yet, but deep down, she already knew. This letter was her mother's final goodbye. Her mother was gone. Emma had prepared for this day for months, but nothing truly prepares you for the loss of someone who was your entire world. She closed her eyes, tears threatening to spill, and pressed the letter against her chest. Her mother had been her anchor, her safe place, her best friend. The thought of a world without her was unbearable. She turned her gaze toward the framed photo on her bedside table, her mother's radiant smile and loving arms wrapped tightly around a much younger Emma. That smile was her comfort through every storm, but now it was only a memory frozen in time. Finally, with trembling fingers, she broke the seal and unfolded the letter. The scent of lavender drifted up, a scent her mother always carried. Her breath caught as she read the first line, her mother's voice echoing in her mind. My dearest Emma, if you are reading this, I am no longer with you. I wish I could hold you one last time, tell you again how proud I am of you, how deeply I love you. Life doesn't always give us the time we hope for, but I don't want my passing to leave you with sorrow that lasts forever. You are stronger than you know, my sweet girl. Live, love, and chase every dream you have. Promise me you won't let this break you. I believe in you, now and always. Love, Mom. Emma clutched the letter to her heart as tears spilled freely down her cheeks. She sank onto the floor, sobbing, her body trembling from the weight of grief. This wasn't just a letter, it was a lifeline, her mother's voice reaching out to her one last time. But something at the bottom of the page caught her eye, a faint ink symbol. It looked like a small heart with an arrow pointing upward. Emma's breath hitched. Her mother had always loved puzzles. As a child, Emma had spent countless weekends solving treasure hunts her mother created, with riddles that led to little surprises. Could this be another one of her mother's games? Emma wiped her tears and studied the symbol. The arrow pointing upward, what could it mean? She scanned her small apartment until her eyes landed on the old bookshelf in the corner, filled with books, photo albums, and journals. She rose to her feet, heart pounding, and sifted through the shelf. That's when she saw it, a worn leather journal with a heart embossed on the cover. She pulled it out and opened it carefully. Inside was her mother's handwriting once again, but this time, it wasn't a farewell, it was a guide. Emma, if you are holding this, it means I couldn't walk with you through life anymore. But I want to take you on a journey, even if I can't be there in person. This journal contains letters, memories, and clues that will lead you to places I want you to see, people I hope you'll meet, and stories you deserve to know. Follow these steps, my love. They will bring you healing. Emma's tears returned, but there was something else with them now, a flicker of hope. For the first time in months, she felt a sense of purpose. Her mother wasn't truly gone. She had left behind a trail, a journey of love, waiting to be followed. The first page had an address scrawled neatly across the top, Maple Street Cafe. Ask for Clara. Emma had never heard of the place, but something about it stirred a vague memory. She grabbed her coat, clutching the journal, and stepped out into the cool morning air. The streets were quiet, the town bathed in golden light as she made her way to the cafe. The bell above the door chimed softly as she entered. The scent of freshly brewed coffee and warm pastries filled the air. A woman in her 60s stood behind the counter, her face lighting up as she spotted Emma. You must be Emma, she said warmly. Your mother told me you'd come one day. Emma blinked back tears. You knew my mom. Clara nodded, her eyes glistening. She used to come here every week. She told me all about you. She said you were her greatest masterpiece. Clara reached under the counter and pulled out a small box. She left this for you. Emma opened the box with trembling hands. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a tiny heart pendant. Tucked beneath it was another letter. Dear Emma, this cafe was one of my favorite places when I first moved to this town. I used to sit here and dream about the future, and then you came along and became my future. Wear this necklace as a reminder of my love, and remember that home is not a place, it's wherever love is. Now, turn to the next page of the journal. Emma clasped the necklace around her neck, tears streaming down her cheeks. She turned the page in the journal. The next clue was a photograph, her mother standing in front of a rustic cabin by a lake. On the back was a note, "Find the cabin. There's something there I want you to see." Determined, Emma rented a car and drove hours through winding roads until she reached the cabin. It was quiet and serene, surrounded by towering pine trees. Inside, she found a small box under the bed with another letter. "My sweet Emma, this is where I came to heal when life became too heavy. I want you to have this place. It's yours now. I hope you'll come here whenever the world feels too loud. I left a sketchbook for you, it's in the drawer by the window. I hope you'll fill it with your art, your dreams, and your heart." Emma's hands trembled as she opened the drawer and found the sketchbook. On the first page was a drawing her mother had made years ago, of Emma as a little girl, laughing in the sun. For the first time in months, Emma smiled through her tears. She picked up a pencil and began to draw, her hands moving almost instinctively. It felt like her mother was guiding her, stroke by stroke. Over the following weeks, Emma followed every clue in the journal. She traveled to towns she had never been to, met people who shared stories about her mother she'd never heard, and uncovered pieces of her mother's life before she was born. She learned about sacrifices her mother had made to give her a better life, dreams she had set aside so Emma could chase her own. Each letter brought Emma closer to her mother's heart, and with every step of the journey, the crushing weight of grief began to lift. One letter led her to a hospital nurse who had been with her mother in her final days. The nurse told Emma how her mother had spent her last moments writing letters and planning this journey for her. "She wanted to make sure you'd always feel her love," the nurse said softly. Emma wept in the nurse's arms, overwhelmed by her mother's devotion. The final page of the journal held a single instruction: "Go to the cliff at Sunset Point. Bring my letter." Emma drove to the cliff as the sun began to dip below the horizon. She stood at the edge, the wind whipping her hair, the sky painted in breathtaking shades of orange and pink. She pulled out her mother's first letter, holding it close to her heart. "I'm here, Mom," she whispered through tears. "I miss you so much." She closed her eyes and felt the warmth of the setting sun on her face. In that moment, she felt her mother's presence, gentle, comforting, and everlasting. The grief didn't disappear, but it softened, replaced by a profound sense of love that transcended death. Emma knew then that her mother's journey had done more than heal her heart, it had given her the strength to live again. She opened her sketchbook and began to draw the scene before her, tears streaming down her cheeks, her heart full of gratitude and love. She whispered to the wind, "Thank you, Mom. I'll make you proud." And for the first time since her mother's passing, Emma smiled, not because the pain was gone, but because she knew love was eternal, and her mother would always be with her.